All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the Web3 gaming landscape. But today, I have the pleasure of being joined by one of my favorite upcoming AI Web3 gaming products in the space. I truly think AI and gaming are going to be one of the hottest narratives in all of crypto and Web3 this year. And I have the pleasure to chat with one of the brightest minds in this space. Has an awesome experience in the gaming landscape, and they're building an amazing AI gaming project. So without further ado, let's get in the game. As always, guys, before we get started, like the video and subscribe. We're trying to push that 100K mark before the end of March. So help us out, like the video and subscribe. And a quick shout out to all of our sponsors on In the Game. We have some amazing sponsors here on the channel. You can links down below in the description, and you can check out all of our sponsors. But we're going to jump right into this one because, like I said, I think AI and gaming is one of my favorite narratives. Obviously, as a Web3 gaming maxi myself, I really see the potential there, but the AI side could just add fuel to the fire. And I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by Michael from Today the Game. How are you today?
I'm great. Yeah, it's really cool to be here, and yeah, looking forward to diving in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great show. And I mean, your insights on the gaming space as well as AI in games, I think is just very unique. So I couldn't think, like I said, of a better person to bring on than yourself. If you would like to just intro yourself and then intro Today the Game, maybe for people who might not know what the product is, and then we'll just dive in.
Great. Well, that's first of all very kind of you to say, so I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, so I'm Mike. I am the CEO of the team that's making Today. My background is video game development. I was a producer at Nintendo. I worked at Sega, amazing studio called Sports Interactive. I had the chance of working on lots of really cool IP at those studios. Started my company, Mr. Kite, with my co-founder, Ben Cleary. He comes from a film background. He won an Oscar in 2017 for his short film *Stutterer*. And people might be more familiar with his latest work, which is called Swan Song, kind of a near sci-fi flick on Apple Plus. So we put together a team of really interesting folks from our across game development and crypto and AI and VFX animation, and we're making this this ambitious and interesting game called Today. So what is Today? Today is a social simulation. And in the game, you're going to design and build your own virtual worlds. These are called islands. So you're going to design and build them in kind of interesting new ways, right? Using a lot of next gen technology. You know, one of the things we're going to be talking about today is AI. So you're going to be able to use generative AI in order to be able to build in really profoundly new ways. That's going to unlock creativity and hopefully provide a canvas for expression that we haven't seen in games before. So we're kind of merging that this kind of AI creative generative technology with more traditional modular building tools, the kind of things that you might see in The Sims or No Man's Sky or Animal Crossing or games like that. And we think that's going to be a really fun way for people to be able to create. But you're not just going and building on an island, and it's not just about interior design and architecture and all that kind of stuff. It's also about building a community, and that's really the point where we're incredibly passionate. So you're going to be building a community of AI NPCs in Today that are called residents. Residents are genuinely like they're the next generation of what it means to be an NPC. You're going to be able to hang out with them, and they're going to become companions on your island, and you're going to have, ultimately, our aim is to ensure that people can build profound connections between themselves and those characters, which is a mad and trippy idea to consider, but it's where we're moving in video games. So we're really happy to be working at the kind of the forefront and the frontier of that, and trying to kind of knock some new ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an awesome conversation today because I always ask the guests, like, why Web3 for a game like this? So obviously with your industry background, what maybe brought you over to Web3? And then I'm going to kind of compound that with a couple more questions after that. But what brought you into Web3 from your past experience, and what makes this game a great fit for the Web3 space?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in Web3 for since 2015. So you know, I've been kind of passionate about what I've seen in the space and seen, a few cycles obviously in that time as well. And learned some hard lessons, as everyone has who's been in it since 2015. Um, my co-founder is the same. We're just really passionate about emerging technology and how it can impact society. And in particular, the aspects of society that we're interested in is virtual worlds of the future, which are increasingly looking like social platforms these days. So, AI is one aspect of technology that we've really leaned into, but, the crypto aspect is really, really important to us. And, you know, I think I'm probably one of the few traditional developers who's kind of made that journey across. There's increasingly more people who've come across into Web3 from Web2, but there's still kind of like it's still a relatively small kind of space. And why did I want to, really focus on the Web3 aspects, and why did we want to focus on the team? There's a couple of reasons really. I could probably go into, geez, man, if I go into this too much, this could be like the whole call. So I'll try to be relatively concise here. But listen, from the philosophical aspect of this, we're really intrigued by what the future virtual worlds, what they mean for society. And I think that in order for us to be able to build the, next phase of what the internet looks like and how we're going to be able to inhabit the internet, I think that blockchain is an essential component in order for us to have a fairer, more balanced, and freer collection of virtual worlds or digital space. So I think that that's really important. And then I can move from the philosophical into some of the more businessy side, which really attracts me as well, right? So user acquisition is a total nightmare inside of video games, has been for a while in traditional games. And what we're seeing in Web3 is ways to acquire users and to build communities that are totally unprecedented. Like just absolutely, we've never seen this kind of happen inside of Web2 before. And that's so attractive as a game developer to be able to go, wow, we can, build a community. Like we could build a community of 170,000 people who've been joining us during development, and that's amazing on loads and loads of levels, obviously the user acquisition opportunities in the future is the clear one, but also just speaking to your consumers, speaking to your consumers every day and learning about what they want inside the game, super useful, so really, really amazing opportunities there. And then I think again, not the last thing, probably there's 10 more things I'm going to drop here, but I'm just don't want to go on about it too long. But I think the access to liquidity that's provided by crypto is really intriguing, both as a game developer and as a player. All right. So as a game developer, I'm able to access liquidity to build a game in totally new ways, right? That I wouldn't have been if I was in Web2, right?
Of course.
That's why the valuations of Web3 games companies in seed rounds are higher than Web2 games, right? Because there's a potential to tap into global markets with crypto that you can't really do otherwise, right? So that's obviously, very, very useful. But the cool thing about it is you as the game developer, it's not just you who's tapping into that market, right? Because the assets that people are using inside the game belong to the players inside of crypto games. So actually the players are being able to tap into that wealth as well. And those financial ecosystems. And that's very, very liberating and empowering. And ultimately something that, is very intriguing as a game developer.
Yeah. The liquidity thing, it's as intriguing for the players as it is the developers. And like you said, that's why we see the valuations get to what they are. But when those valuations hit those levels, the players are also very much benefiting. And it's not just the back end, but obviously Web3 provides so much business opportunity for the games in the industry. I think it's a no-brainer for games to shift to Web3. And so what I was saying was, I asked this to everybody. Do you eventually see Web3 maybe being a part of most of the gaming landscape, or do you forever see Web3 maybe being this like subsector, a niche within the gaming industry? Or do you think it will get big enough where like the industry titans can't ignore it anymore?
I think it's the latter. Probably, if I was to, no crystal balls here, but I think that the technology creates opportunity in new ways. Now, like a lot of that opportunity has been exercised so far in a non-optimal way, which has scared people, but that's kind of what happens when you're dealing with really new, important technology. It takes a while for it to find its foot And we've just got huge amounts of history to look back on as the emergence of technology and how it starts to permeate its way into technology that we can learn from. It's hard to say that it's going to be kind of just absolutely ubiquitous. I think it's really dependent on a lot of different factors. That's the truth. How deep crypto goes into society, I think, is going to be really, really important. I think in the first wave of this, what we're looking for is to try to onboard as many people in a frictionless way into Web3, right? We're trying to get a lot of people who aren't, let's say, purely financially minded. We're trying to bring them into Web3 and to show them the benefits of what that is. Those benefits don't always have to be that, hey, listen, bag goes up. There's other really cool things here that we can do as a technology. I think when we start trying to exercise what those things are and showing why games can be better with this technology, and I don't think every game it's not like every game's going to need crypto to be successful. That's never going to happen, frankly. Do you know what I mean? But there are certain game features and game genres that can definitely get a leg up. They can definitely get a leg up by the introduction of this technology. Likewise, I mean, honestly, you can kind of think about it in other technological ways as well. Like, what did the internet and what did multiplayer systems do? Right? It created new opportunities for specific genres and specific features inside of specific genres, and that ultimately kind of changed society. That changed society. Now, that created systems whereby people go in and build friends and build identities and build communities inside of like Roblox, for example, which is now more popular with 13-year-olds than TikTok is. So that's the kind of back end of how the technology goes to impact society. And obviously we're trying to grow towards finding those killer apps that are going to be really beneficial and are going to indicate how cool this technology can be for our players.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with a lot of that. And there's certain genres, I think it's more of a fit than others, for sure. And a lot of game models and the way the actual economy, no pun intended, because we talk about in-game economies so much in Web3, but Web2 games, they have their own economies. They have people that are in charge of making sure it's sustainable, making sure that the microtransactions make sense. It's not too overpowered when you make a purchase over someone who's a free player or whatever the case may be. So the next question I want to run by you: what about AI in video games? Because this is where the intersection with today comes through. And I just think that this is going to shock a lot of people when they finally see a lot of these AI products hit the market. There's some amazing games in the Web3 space and eventually will be in the Web2 space that are really powered by AI and leveraging that technology. So how do you see AI in the future of gaming? Do you obviously you see it as a positive? I feel like there could be some negatives if it's used exploiting, cheating, etc. But do you think AI, kind of like Web3, is eventually kind of going to be an integral part of most games moving forward?
And yes, yeah, I'm very confident that it will. AI, emergence of generative technology, large language models, ultimately since Midjourney and ChatGPT and stuff have come out, this is a revolutionary change for society, and that's going to impact video games in ways that very few people can fully imagine, So I think it's a hugely impactful moment. Yeah, it's a hard one to try to go into like a futurism prediction on how it's going to play itself out. But there's some things that are relatively obvious at this point. What's relatively obvious from a game developer's perspective is that a lot of the budget lines that you were allocating huge amounts of your budget on, whether it be 2D art or increasingly, for example, 3D art. A lot of those costs are going to go down to near zero, and that is crazy for the video game industry, right? Like when you're like, okay, well, I don't know how much Red Dead Redemption costs. I don't know, it's like $1 billion. It's something crazy, right? I've heard that for GTA, I think it's between 1 and 2 billion. Pretty big number, by the way, between 1 and 2 billion. But it's like, between 1 and 2. I don't know.
Only 1 or 2.
Yeah. But I would expect that probably a very significant amount of that budget. I'm going to guess that 25% of that budget is on art assets. In the case of if it's a $2 billion project, that's 500 million, right?
Right.
So imagine that was zero. Do you know what I mean? That is like, that's huge changes, you know? So we're already seeing the production of 3D art kind of begin to happen. And it's beginning to get better. Obviously, the production of 2D art, as you can see everywhere on the internet now, is just like, you get amazing stuff from DALL-E, and particularly of Midjourney. That's game-changing stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like game-changing stuff. We had to pick up some badges for a part in our game recently, and my creative director and my co-founder came back and he gave me he showed us like 7 or 8 amazing badges for how they could progress. And it would have taken us just so much longer. He went off and did it in 10 minutes or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And because he's got a good brain for connecting what he wants to the words, and he's educated in specific things, he's able to get a lot of really good stuff. So the production of video games is going to change dramatically because of AI. But you know, that's really interesting to me because I'm a game developer. But what about for all the other folks who aren't game developers? What about for the folks who just want to play games and stuff like that? You know, well, that's also going to be super impactful as well, because we're going to see new genres as a result of that. We're going to see way more people making games, broadly speaking, because there's more of a democratization of the creation of video games as the costs are lower.
Yeah.
We don't know what genres are going to even happen yet, but they're going to be new ones. There's going to be new ones, you know. And what intrigues me personally is the stuff that we're really focusing in on. Like, I'm deeply intrigued by the idea of what it's like to have characters that are really richly profound and deep inside of video games. You know, instead of like the NPCs where you're like, oh, select A, and then you're
same conversation loops.
Yeah, all that stuff, right? It's like we've been kind of going like, oh God, that felt old-fashioned 10 years ago. Do you know what I mean? But that's pretty much gone, you know? Like, now we're able to have these amazing conversations and jump into any aspect, or, you know, talk about the lore, or talk about, you know, whatever you want. Talk about what they think about the emergence of AI in games is, you know? So that's pretty powerful. And I think that that's going to have a massive impact, broadly speaking, on games for players. And then the third thing, which is the main thing, which I mentioned as well, is creativity. People can just, inside of games, people can make cool things. UGC, you know, with Roblox, Minecraft, they dominated the last couple of years, right? The last decade or maybe more. UGC, people love UGC for good reasons. And what AI does for UGC is, wow, you know, it's like, it just takes lets it all out of the box and gives the creativity to players and to users. And for me, that's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. There's no limit. Like, some people feel like they can't build it in the game because maybe a hurdle of, you know, not the skills to be able to develop something in the game. But if they have AI to assist them, they can actually bring those thoughts to life as far as the UGC inside of these games. So I think it's a big time game changer. And I heard a funny example on a Twitter space recently. It's like in Grand Theft Auto 6, you're walking down the street and you see the same guy coming out of his apartment every day. But one day you mess with that guy and he gets fired from his job that he's going to, right? And then he goes on this villain arc and he changes his story arc. He becomes a completely different character, and he has this vendetta against you or something like that. It was like, that's AI at its fullest right there in video games. We can totally see that in the future. So I love that, man. I thought it was a pretty funny and cool example. But
so what you're leaning, just briefly, what you're leaning into there is the autonomous nature of beings inside of virtual worlds. So normally at the moment inside of virtual worlds, the NPCs live very scripted lives. You can kind of pull them off course, but the truth is you're never actually veering them that far off course.
Right.
You know, they're all, so to speak, on the rails, right? There's a bit of AI, but they're not autonomously deciding and doing things. The aspect of the sliding doors effect that you're describing there is really, really interesting. Imagine going into your world and seeing the incredibly mad changes that have happened as a result of some of the decisions that you've made, and how immersive that's going to be, you know?
Yeah.
So that really intrigues us. And a lot of the character engine work that we do is building actually that technology, you know, the exact thing that you're describing there, that autonomous nature of who they are and how they contextually react inside of the virtual worlds. Yeah, super fun.
It's going to be awesome to see how this, kind of integrates into the gaming landscape over the years. The potential and like the amount of things that you can do with that, I think, is limitless. So let's like focus on today before we like get to the end of the show here in about 10 minutes. I know we're already at like a 30-minute hard stop for our meeting time, so I hope you have a few minutes. But
Sure.
as
Yeah,
far
yeah,
as
all good now.
as far as today, so how, like, whenever you open up the game as a new player, how does the gameplay loop work? And then what type of AI interactions will they be participating in when they open up the game?
Yeah. So the game loop, to describe kind of what you actually do inside of today, when you peel away the words and move into kind of what it feels like from a more design perspective, is what you're going to do is you're going to find residents. These are the AI NPCs. You're going to interact with them, and in those interactions, you're going to discover that they've got certain needs that need to be addressed, and you're going to address those needs by taking on various different quests, and the myriad of quests is quite large, to be honest. So I won't go into the devil in the detail on this now, but from a high level, you'll be doing things related to their house, their home, from an architectural and interior design perspective. You'll be doing things to help them, have more activities and skills inside of their excuse me, and the skills inside of their virtual world, so they're able to navigate the island more efficiently and more optimally. You're going to help them develop specific relationships. You're going to help them with their entertainment, and also another big part of it is you're going to be helping them with their fashion. So over that umbrella of needs, you're going to have like a massive, massive myriad of different kind of quests to undertake. And by doing that, you're going to make them happier, which is good for you as well, because the happier they are, the more points you get, the more that you're able to unlock new features, new residents, more land, more tools, and more cosmetic items as well, which are going to be a really fundamental part of our game. So that's kind of what you're doing pretty much inside of the world of today. And how you're greeted by that when you enter the game is you're going to meet Pong, who is Pong is the tutorial, I suppose, aspect of the game. She's this really cute kind of almost tennis ball robot. And upon your first kind of entering the game, putting in your name, getting a basic little kind of list of what you're going to do, Pong is going to guide you through and bring you over to meet your first resident and, begin the loop. So you're always going to have Pong at your side. And Pong is knowledgeable at all aspects of the game, all aspects of the story and the lore. And it's just a really useful kind of friend for you actually inside the game. Maybe friend is maybe like over time, hopefully they'll become friends, but companions are the way that we're framing it at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of kind of play testing it a few months back. Someone
cool.
behind the account got me a build, and I really enjoyed it. And like, I haven't played, many, if any at all, a couple AI video games in my life that are like that integrated. And I have to say, it was a heck of a time. Like, it's a fun experience. You jump in. There's a lot of creativity in it, and I had a great time. And especially, I feel like as early stage as you guys are in development, it felt really crisp. So for anyone out there, it is a closed build right now. You can't publicly go jump into the game, right?
That's right. Yeah, we've been doing closed testing, and now we're back into development. We're going to come out of development with another closed build, a little bit later. But if people want to join the next closed testing, reach out on Today the Game. DM our folks over there. They're normally very responsive to everyone. And hopefully we can get as many people in as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And I would advise everyone out there to jump in the Discord as well, jump in like the community, because there's a lot going on right now. And I believe, and it might be over allocated at this point, but people can still look out for it, that you guys have a mint coming up, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up actually. Yeah, it's been a really, really amazingly busy period since like November, since the kind of market started shifting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess for you too, man. Yeah, has it been a big uptick for you also? Yeah.
It's just the demand of things is much higher, and also, I just have an NFT project. I'm running like a gaming software. I know we've chatted about it over time with Joris and stuff like that, but whenever like
Oh
the
yeah,
markets
yeah.
ramp up, when the markets ramp up, it's like, it's unfortunate. It's good for your bags, but it's
This is
unfortunate.
is it Nexus? Nexus is
Yeah,
it?
Nexus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is cool,
Yeah.
man. Really, really, really excited by that one.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we'll have to. I think we can do some cool things integrating today and some cool features on that. But man, when the market speeds up, you feel like development has to speed up as well. It's kind of like this double-edged sword, right? When the markets are calm and people aren't speculating and the FOMO isn't crazy, you gotta have that patient time period to just build, get that foundation. But man, when the market ticks up, everything's just faster and you want to just speed up the development. So I understand, especially like on a game side right now with a mint coming up. I know people in your community have to be like frothing at the mouth for what's next.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's been actually one of the nice things about building up for the last like more than a year in a bear market. You know, there is a nice benefit to that. But yeah, listen, there's a huge amount of interest in what we're doing now, you know, from all aspects, you know, gameplay, financial investment, everything, you know, which is cool. I mean, you know, I'm not complaining about it. It's a fun headache to have. But yeah, things are going well. I think I don't believe the date has been announced yet on the on when the mint is, but it's yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to get killed if I say this. Maybe it's a. Let me just ask Dave if I can. It's going to be in late March. That's the best thing I can say. It's going to be late March. Yeah, I won't give a. I think I'm not sure if that's been even said. So sorry to my whole marketing team if I've just done something wrong there.
It is my job to get the alpha. Job accomplished.
Great stuff, man. Well, yeah. Listen, it's a mint coming up. It's a 777 collection, so it's super exclusive and small. It's a really, really powerful entry point into our ecosystem. Incredibly overbalanced, dare I say, for the folks who are going to be involved. There's going to be incredible, cool gameplay stuff. There's other stuff which we're not able to talk about in terms of like the more crypto side benefits for like loads of reasons, but like loads of compliance reasons that, you know, we have to be really careful about with the stuff that we talk about. But what I can say is it's going to be a really, really important entry point into our ecosystem, and we're really proud of it, and we're really proud of what it's going to achieve, especially for that first group of people who've been with us on this journey. But you know, there's going to be more windows for people to be able to join, and yeah, we're really psyched.
Yeah, and just the last thing, it's a free mint, right?
That's right, man. Yeah.
Doesn't get better than that for a project of this quality, like, and a low supply. I feel like that's going to do super well. That's my job to speculate, but hey.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that speculation. Yeah, listen, we want it to do well. Obviously, we want the folks in our community to be able to, you know, get, you know, good rewards from it. And, you know, community is really important to us. It's one of the reasons that we do what we do inside of Web3, which is, you know, something that we touched on earlier on. So, we're working very hard in order to be able to ensure that it's as successful as possible for those folks in our community, and ultimately for the long-term projection of the whole game. You know, we think about this long-term as well as short-term, which is, I think, really important and perhaps slightly unique when it comes to crypto.
Oh, it definitely is. Everyone's more focused on what's going on next week, and most builders are focused on what can they announce for that short-term stimulation.
Sure. Yeah, there is a lot of management of that. You got to keep people pumped the whole time. But that's fun too. You know, that's actually fun too, I think.
That's Web3 for you right there. So where can people follow you and then today, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Mike_Mr. is me. Yeah, come say hi, and you know, check out Today the Game on Twitter, on Discord, and join the journey with us, folks. You know, still lots of cool stuff to be done here. Although we've become a lot more popular, you know, we're all very grounded and humble about what we're trying to do. Is here we're trying to ultimately build pioneering technology that can impact vast amounts of players and break into create an entertainment IP that can go mainstream. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and it's been really fun.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, I think the intersection of AI and gaming in Web3 this year is just going to be insane. And then in totality across the whole gaming industry. So I'm just stoked for what you guys are building. I know you're busy, so I appreciate the time and giving me a little extra time too on the clock here. So Mike,
My
it was a
pleasure.
pleasure to have you on. And guys, if you're bullish on AI and gaming this year in 2024 and moving ahead in Web3, like the videos, subscribe, give Today to Game a follow, give Mike a follow on Twitter, jump in the community. I'm stoked for the mint coming up. And guys, we will see you on the next show. As always, play well, my friends.